I was danger close to a 2,000-pound bomb, an airstrike that I called in, and I received my first TBI. I had subsequent TBIs in 2013 and 2016. My name is Carl Hill, and I spent my first 10 years in the military in the Air National Guard. I was activated for 4 years and worked on a counter-narcotics task force, and I deployed to Iraq in 2004. I would be faced with a conflict or a challenge. I would either shut down or I would blow up. Like, there was no in between. There was no logical, common sense Carl. Like, he was gone. Like, it just wasn't even possible. But I wasn't sleeping. I had memory problems. I was in this fog. I struggled to remember things. I had pretty bad PTSD. I had what I call the Charlie Brown teacher. Like when someone would say something just randomly, it would sound like wah 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 wah, and I would be like, "What did you say?" And I didn't know what that was. I thought that my hearing was bad because I had tinnitus and I had been around, a lot of gunfire and explosions and stuff. It's debilitating, you don't feel motivated to do things. You feel depressed, you feel isolated, you feel alone, you feel like no one understands you. I have a wife and I have 4 kids, and, they struggled just as much as I did. They struggled with not having a dad who was present. You just feel like you're just in this fog and you're just distant from them. And my wife, she shouldered the burden all by herself. I was there, but I just wasn't really there. I just hit rock bottom. I just felt like I was going nowhere. I wasn't getting any better. I was actually getting worse. I was more stressed. I was more anxious because they were talking about, medical retirement, and I didn't know what that would mean and how much I would get and if I'd be able to support my family and if I'd be able to get a job afterwards. I'm going to be here forever. I was at the bottom. I had lost all hope, and it was very discouraging, very depressing. As soon as I started treatments with HBOT, I stopped having that Charlie Brown teacher speech. I started being able to organize my thoughts. I brought several books with me. I was able to start reading books again and remembering, what I read, so I didn't have to keep reading the same paragraph over and over again. And I would say by the time I came home after my 30 days, I felt like 90% back to the old me, where I could, I could think through things. I could have an emotionally mature response to things, I guess. But like immediately when I came back, my wife noticed a difference when, there was I don't even remember the situation, but there was some kind of conflict, and I was able to, reason through it. And that even stopped me, and I was able to say, hey, I'm better. I'm way better than I used to be. And my family's mentioned that I have better control over my emotions. I'm able to stay more organized and stay on task and get things done. They say I'm more present, and I'm back to they call me Crazy Carl, or back to my Crazy Carl self, Having access to HBOT would have been huge, back in 2004 when I got my first TBI, or even 5 or 6 years ago, if I had access to HBOT, I probably would have been able to stay in the military. They wouldn't have medically retired me. I would have been able to heal from some of these injuries, and things would have been a lot different. When we go to the VA, they don't really address these things. They say, hey, we got some medicines we can give you, and we can treat your symptoms, and we can treat your depression. We can't fix it, and there's not really anything else we can do. And so a year ago, I brought it up with my provider when I first got into the VA system, and she had no idea what I was talking about. She was like, no, that's not a thing. Like we don't do that. It's not even an option. For me, the 22 Project puts their money where their mouth is, I guess. There's so many organizations that I see online or that I read about. They talk about all these things they do for veterans, and I'm like, some of those organizations I've reached out to, and I've never even heard back from them, I would tell someone that's thinking about donating to the 22 Project that, hey, this is a good organization that does something that no one else does. And it's an amazing treatment that really truly helps to make things better in an injured service member's life. So if anyone out there has the opportunity to go and you're wondering, should I go? I'm telling you, you should go, and it'll change your life. So many years of people saying, hey, we can treat your symptoms, but we can't make you better. I'm a lot better. So it's pretty amazing.